In February 2017, whilst in Uganda, I was taking this route from Kotosi on Lake Victoria to Chisoga village. On this particular journey, I'd noticed a small medical clinic with a scan advertised. I'd never seen a scan in the village before. I went inside and I met Henry Garvin and his wife Rose.
Dr. Mukalazi, Henry Garvin. I grew up in Chisoga village. I studied my primary school in Chisoga village, did my secondary and all my education in this area. From the time I was young, we had no health facility at all. We only went to the priests who were missionaries to give us medicine. And because of the fact that by then we had lots of malaria cases, I often fell sick, and I grew up having that at heart that at one time maybe we would have a facility in our village. And for that reason, I worked hard day and night to make sure that we started with something small, and we started off Herona Medical Center, which was in 2 rented rooms in Chisoga village. So in 2017 we started off with a foundation, and IMET came on board. This fully funded the roofing, plastering, painting and electrical installation of phase 1 of the hospital. And this had a small pharmacy, a dispensing area, a laboratory, and a few admissional beds that were made with locally. So we were blessed to have Professor Colin Green in 2018, who came to launch phase 1 of the hospital. And after him seeing what we had on ground, he pledged to find funds to set up a very good eye clinic and work on equipping all the hospital.
Next, Colin Green contacted Patrick Paul of the Paul Foundation. The Paul Foundation quickly came on board, and incredibly they funded the next phase, the basement project, which gave the hospital a permanent space for the eye clinic, an x-ray room, a theatre and a ward. And on completion of the basement, amazingly the Paul Foundation funded the 3rd phase, the ground floor. This gave the hospital 3 wards, a maternity unit with labour suite, 2 operating theatres, private rooms, and all the time this was going on, IMET2000 were helping equip the hospital with an x-ray machine, hospital beds, anaesthetic machine, scan, operating microscope, to name just a few, and very importantly, an ambulance. This is how Herona Hospital looks today.
As a hospital, we lack oxygen. We've been using oxygen cylinders, which we fill, but it's a long distance from the hospital to where the nearest plant is. If we had oxygen as a facility, we would be able to save a number of lives, not only in the COVID situation, but often we need the oxygen to almost all mothers that we do take to theatre.
From my experience, all the years I've been working, have been having a problem of oxygen, but it has intensified, especially during this coronavirus.
Our eye clinic last year registered over 300 patients with cataracts. These are elderly men and women who can't afford surgeries in hospitals in town. So from last year, when we did the last free cataract surgery with support from IMET, we've not done any other camp, and these patients have been always calling us. So we need support to help these people restore their vision.
In 2020, Herona Hospital did 20 free cataract operations funded by IMET2000. Dr. Susan Chichira led the team.
Sinna kulabawo ddwaliro ddala ate n'embeera neeteba mbi okumanya omuntu owawaasi abalala basiŋŋaana n'abamu abategeera.
As Garvin said, Herona Hospital has come a long way in a very short time. And as Professor Colin Green stated in his speech at the opening of the hospital, we have a wonderful building, but it is nothing without the people in it. We need help to continually train and improve the skills at Herona Hospital, like the Julie Felix Memorial Scholarship for Maternity, or training young students from Kampala's universities. This really is the lifeblood of the hospital. As well as needing oxygen, Herona Hospital needs to improve its water and electricity supply. At present, electricity is expensive and unstable, with regular blackouts during operations. This can be extremely dangerous. Even with the backup petrol generator also supplied by IMET2000. Being on the equator means sunlight is plentiful. Solar power would give a cheap, reliable and clean power to the hospital. Thanks to the Paul Foundation, we have a hospital bed with patient monitor and oxygen. This is dedicated to patients in a critical condition. With the help of IMET2000, we have a UCL Ventura CPAP respirator, but we need a proper intensive care unit. Currently, critically ill patients are referred to expensive Kampala hospitals. This often means a loss of patients for a fear of high costs. We also need an ICU for the wonderful collaboration with Chira, who send organised groups of surgeons from Switzerland, Germany and Austria to perform free, difficult operations for people in desperate situations. With so much progress and need for help, it is difficult to mention all that is happening in Herona Hospital, like the HIV clinic, the dentistry and our laboratory, which desperately needs a biochemistry department. The list goes on. It is important though for the amazing work to continue that has begun here and to continue to grow and help as many people as possible who would otherwise not get the quality and affordable health care.
O Uganda, may God uphold thee, we lay our future in thy hands. United we for liberty, together we'll always stand. The Ugandan national anthem. And it is precisely that spirit that IMET2000 captured in fully supporting Herona Hospital since May 2017. That's when the foundation stone was laid. Today, it is admitting 7,000 people per month as day patients. The hospital serves a population of 600,000 in Mukono district in Uganda. Inevitably, the COVID-19 surge in Uganda has considerably impacted on the hospital's work. The hospital has been forced to set up a ward of 12 beds for severely infected patients with life-saving oxygen and medicines, which IMET2000 is delivering at great cost. Because of the lockdowns, fewer patients have been coming through the door, and the reduction of income, which normally pays for the 50 staff, has provided enormous difficulties. Because oxygen cylinders can no longer be filled in Uganda, IMET2000 is sending an oxygen generator so that the hospital has its own supply. We are buying a Toyota Land Cruiser fully equipped as an ambulance, not only for emergency transport, but to provide backup for the mobile clinics. This is a very special thing for me because I was lucky enough to be sent to Uganda at the age of 18 in 1966 as a volunteer teacher with VSO. I lived for a whole year on the banks of the Nile, teaching in a secondary school some 60 miles upstream from Lake Victoria. The experience has informed my life ever since. That's why I support IMET2000's work with cancer treatment in Uganda and above all for the hospital in Mukono district in Uganda. It's a beautiful country. They are wonderful people. They've suffered so much, but their resilience ensures that great work is being done, and IMET2000 is a valiant and successful supporter in the development of that country. That's why I sang the Ugandan national anthem before telling you of IMET2000's work.